After months of painful silence, Frank Jenkins has finally broken down and spoken publicly about the heartbreaking death of his wife, the legendary actress Lynn Hamilton. But what he revealed, no one was ready for. His emotional confession wasn't just a tribute, it was a revelation. A tangled story of quiet suffering, legal chaos, and one potential recording that could blow the case wide open. Now, fans, family members, and even former colleagues are asking, what really happened in Lynn Hamilton's final days? Why did Frank stay silent for so long? And what is this mysterious tape that insiders claim could expose everything? This is no ordinary Hollywood farewell. This is a story about silence, suspicion, and the final voice of a woman who may have known her truth wouldn't be told after she passed. Lynn Hamilton. The name alone evokes warmth, grace, and a quiet strength that defined an era of television. Millions knew her as Donna Harris from Sanford and Son, the wise and loving partner of Fred Sanford. But beyond the screen, she was a deeply private person. A devoted wife. A cherished friend. So when news broke of her passing, fans expected tributes to pour in. They waited for Hollywood to honor her legacy. But instead, there was silence. No public memorial. No family press statement. Not even a tweet from Frank Jenkins, her husband of decades. And that silence quickly turned from sorrow to suspicion. In the months leading up to Lynn's death, whispers began circulating. Sources close to the family said she had grown unusually frail, barely speaking, often unresponsive. Visitors described heartbreaking scenes, Lynn withdrawn, detached, her signature smile faded. But the most unsettling accounts came from inside the home. Some neighbors reported strange activity, caregivers arriving at odd hours, tense exchanges between relatives, and the sound of raised voices. One insider, who asked to remain anonymous, said, "There were moments Lynn looked afraid. Her eyes would follow people like she was trying to say something without words." Still, no official diagnosis was ever shared. No hospital updates. No hospice care announcement. It was like Lynn Hamilton was fading away in total secrecy. And as weeks passed, fans began to ask, was something being hidden? Then came the reports that really raised eyebrows. According to leaked legal documents reviewed by entertainment law analysts, Lynn Hamilton's estate underwent significant changes just weeks before her death. Two long-standing family beneficiaries were allegedly removed. And suddenly, full financial control was consolidated, under Frank Jenkins. Why now? And more importantly, was Lynn even capable of making such decisions? Legal experts raised red flags. Was she of sound mind? Was this truly her will? And if not, who stood to gain the most from those changes? Some family members quietly voiced concerns. Others went further, suggesting that Lynn may have been isolated from relatives on purpose. The tension inside the home wasn't just emotional, it was legal. Then, months later, something unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, Frank Jenkins posted a video online, his first and only public statement since Lynn's passing. Shot in a dimly lit room, the 18-minute video was raw, emotional, and deeply unsettling. His voice shook as he began, "I've kept quiet for a reason. Not because I didn't care, but because what I needed to say, no one was ready to hear." He described Lynn's condition as beyond hope, saying she had quietly asked not to be kept alive by machines. But it was what came next that shocked everyone. At one point, Frank said, "People think they knew her because they saw her on TV. But they didn't know her pain. Or mine." That single quote exploded online. Some viewers sympathized. Others accused him of deflecting. of painting himself as the victim while avoiding key questions. And then came the line that lit the fire. "There are things I'll take to my grave." The moment he said it, speculation exploded. What was he hiding? What truth couldn't he say aloud? Almost immediately, legal storm clouds began to gather. Within days, a formal inquiry was reportedly filed with California's Department of Health and Human Services. At the center of it, questions about how Lynn's medical care was handled and whether her end-of-life choices were truly documented. One lawyer close to the family told local media, "Major decisions were made about treatment, communication, and finances. But several relatives were left completely in the dark." Then came the most chilling twist, the testimony of a former caregiver named Annalise. In a private phone interview, she said, "There were times Lynn looked terrified when left alone with Frank. One day she grabbed my wrist and whispered, 'Help.' I left a week later. I couldn't stay." Her account is still unverified. But attorneys are now reviewing her claims, alongside a long list of unanswered questions. As the controversy grew, so did the public's response. Social media exploded with hashtags like #JusticeForLynn, #WhatHappenedToLynn, and #FrankTellTheTruth. Thousands of fans began dissecting Frank's deleted video, reposting quotes, and sharing side-by-side photos showing Lynn's drastic decline in her final months. One viral post read, "We watched her give life to characters that inspired millions. But when she needed help, no one showed up. We won't let this go." Petitions began circulating, demanding an investigation. A peaceful vigil was held outside a probate courthouse in Los Angeles, where supporters held candles and signs that read, "No silence in her name." Even celebrities spoke out. A former Good Times cast member said, "If Lynn suffered in silence, then we failed her." This wasn't just grief anymore. It was a movement. And then came the most explosive rumor yet. Multiple family sources now claim that in the final days before her death, Lynn Hamilton recorded a secret voice message. A recording, made on a small digital device she allegedly kept hidden beneath her mattress. And in that tape, her truth. The recording, according to insiders, has only been heard by a few trusted family members and lawyers. But what it contains may change everything. One source told an online tabloid, "Lynn knew what was going on. She didn't have strength, but she had clarity. That tape? That's her voice. That's her final message." Legal analysts confirm that if the tape exists and contains clear statements from Lynn about her care, her estate, or her fears, it could be admissible in court. But here's the kicker, there are now rumors that someone is trying to suppress the tape. Legal threats, family infighting, and serious pressure to keep it hidden. As one source said, "If it wasn't real, why would they try so hard to bury it?" Frank Jenkins has vanished from public view again. His attorney refuses all questions. And that emotional, controversial video? Deleted from every official source. But the pressure isn't going away. The fans are louder than ever. The legal questions are only multiplying. And the possible existence of a voice recording made by Lynn herself, that's a detail no one can ignore. If this tape is real, and if it says what some believe it says, Frank Jenkins' story may be heading for a courtroom. And Lynn Hamilton, a woman who let her characters speak volumes, may have made one final plea to speak for herself. Whether the world gets to hear that message is a question only time and justice will answer.